Have you ever felt like you're falling behind? Like everyone else is racing ahead while you're standing still, watching the world move faster than you can breathe. We've all been there. That quiet panic whispering, "You're late." But here's the truth, you're not. You're exactly where you're meant to be. The Stoics taught that life isn't a race, it's a practice. Growth isn't about speed. It's about endurance. It's about the strength to keep walking when no one's watching. The patience to trust that time is not your enemy, but your greatest teacher. Because every delay, every slow season, every quiet struggle, it's not a sign you've fallen behind. It's preparation. So stop sprinting. Start becoming. Time isn't running out, it's building you. If you're ready to stop rushing and start living with intention, stay with me till the end of this video. This may be the moment you finally make peace with time itself. Have you ever looked around and felt like everyone else is sprinting ahead while you're still trying to find your footing? It's a quiet panic that creeps in late at night when the world goes still and your thoughts get loud. You scroll through your feed, seeing people your age or younger buying houses, launching companies, traveling the world. And suddenly, every beat of your heart feels like a reminder you're behind. I used to live in that feeling. Every day felt like a race I hadn't signed up for, but couldn't stop running. I woke up anxious, comparing my unfinished story to someone else's highlight reel. The worst part wasn't jealousy, it was fear. The fear that maybe I had missed my moment. But here's what I've learned. That feeling of being behind is an illusion, a story your mind tells when it forgets that time is not a finish line but a landscape. We rush because we believe there's somewhere else we're supposed to be, something else we're supposed to have done by now. But what if you're not late? What if you're exactly where you're meant to be? I remember one night vividly. I couldn't sleep, so I went outside and sat under a streetlight. I looked up and saw a plane slicing across the sky and realized no one ever calls the plane in the sky late. It's always exactly where it's supposed to be in its journey. The difference is perspective. That night, I realized the race wasn't real. There was no scoreboard, no finish line. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Time is a river. You can't swim faster than the current, you can only move with it." When you see life as a river instead of a racetrack, everything changes. Rivers don't rush, they flow, carrying you forward, sometimes gently, sometimes with force, but always onward. If you feel lost or stuck right now, you're not broken, you're becoming. Every pause, every delay, every still moment is shaping something invisible inside you. You are not in competition with anyone else. You are walking your own path, at your own pace. And the only person you're meant to surpass is the version of you from yesterday. When I finally stopped comparing, time slowed down. Days no longer felt like deadlines. They felt like gifts. I began to notice small things again, the sound of rain, the warmth of morning light, the quiet satisfaction of one small thing done well. Growth doesn't always announce itself sometimes. It hums quietly beneath the surface, waiting for you to notice. We chase milestones because we want proof that we're moving forward. But what if the proof isn't out there? What if it's in your patience, your effort, your quiet endurance? The Stoic life isn't about sprinting to the end. It's about learning to walk with grace. So tonight, if that anxious voice whispers again, telling you you're behind, pause, breathe. Remember that even time itself doesn't rush, it simply moves. And so should you. Because you're not late. You're on time for your own life. If these words resonated with you, subscribe and join this journey. Together, we'll learn to live with calm, intention, and a stoic heart, one patient day at a time. For most of my life, I treated time like an enemy, a thief stealing my chances, a reminder that I was falling behind. Every passing hour carried a quiet anxiety, a whisper that said, "You're running out." I remember sitting at my desk one morning, staring at the clock. The second hand moved with ruthless precision. I kept thinking, if only I had more time, maybe I could finally get ahead. But the more I chased it, the faster it slipped away. That was before I discovered a different way of seeing, the Stoic way. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Time is a river, a violent current of events, glimpsed once and already carried past us." At first, I didn't understand it. A river? It didn't feel like a river, it felt like a storm. But over time, I began to see what he meant. We can't swim faster than the current. We can only learn how to move with it. One evening, I walked by the Thames. The sky was painted with the last streaks of sunset. The river moved, calm, unhurried, eternal. The current didn't force itself forward. It simply flowed, quietly carrying reflections and forgotten things downstream. In that moment, I realized something. Time was never against me. I was against time. We live as if time owes us something, as if it's a currency we can save, spend, or waste. But the Stoics saw it differently. Time isn't a possession. It's participation. You don't have time. You are time, a living, breathing expression of this moment. And the moment you stop fighting it, life starts to unfold as it should. The more we try to control time, the less of it we actually feel. We rush, compress our days, and forget how to inhabit them. Epictetus once said, "No great thing comes into being all at once." That includes peace. It's not a destination we sprint toward. It's a rhythm we learn to move within. Serenity isn't found by bending time to our will, but by aligning ourselves with its nature. Every morning, before I look at my phone or check the time, I take one deep breath and remind myself, this moment is enough. Suddenly, time no longer feels like something chasing me. It feels like something walking beside me. When you stop fighting time, you begin to see its generosity. Every delay, every detour, every slow season has a purpose. What looks like stagnation is often preparation. What feels like waiting is often growth in disguise. To endure time without resentment is to live wisely. I used to believe success was about speed, about reaching milestones before others did. Now I see it differently. Success is alignment, the ability to walk in step with time, not against it. When you're in harmony with time, even the smallest moments become meaningful. You stop clinging to what's gone and stop fearing what's ahead. You begin to trust that life unfolds exactly when it should. Every sunrise arrives right on schedule. Every tide recedes and returns. Every winter gives way to spring. Why should your life be any different? So now, when I feel the old urge to rush, I think of the river, calm, eternal, patient. I remind myself that I don't need to swim faster. I just need to trust the current. And in that trust, I've found peace. Because time isn't a wall I have to climb or a thief I must outrun. It's the quiet companion that's been walking beside me all along, patient, steady, waiting for me to finally notice. There was a time when I couldn't stand stillness. I thought movement was everything, that if I wasn't advancing, I was falling behind. My days were filled with anxious effort, chasing new projects, setting impossible goals, measuring progress by numbers that never felt enough. It took me years to realize that growth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's almost invisible. I learned this lesson from a tree. Behind my home, there's a small oak that I planted a few years ago. The day I buried its roots into the earth, I imagined it shooting upward within months, its branches stretching proudly toward the sky. I checked on it every day, expecting change, expecting proof that my effort had paid off. But weeks passed, then months, and it looked the same. For a while, I thought I had failed. Then one spring, I noticed something subtle. The soil around its base had hardened with roots spreading beneath it. The growth I couldn't see was the most important kind. That tree wasn't stagnant, it was strengthening its foundation. That's when I understood the quiet beauty of slow growth. We live in a culture obsessed with speed, with overnight success, viral moments, and quick results. But nature doesn't rush, and still, everything gets done. The Stoics saw this as wisdom, that greatness isn't born in haste, but in the patience to endure seasons of unseen progress. Seneca once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." It's such a simple truth, yet we forget it daily. We confuse urgency with importance, forgetting that the most meaningful transformations happen gradually. The sculptor doesn't carve a statue in a day. The masterpiece emerges from 1,000 careful strikes of the chisel. I think the same is true for us. We want our lives to bloom instantly. Our careers, relationships, dreams. But the moments we call delays are often the very moments that prepare us. The waiting, the uncertainty, the quiet repetition, these are not wasted seasons. They are the forge where character takes shape. Looking back, I realized that every time I thought I was standing still, I was growing in ways I couldn't measure. Every failure taught humility. Every pause taught patience. Every setback built resilience. Growth, I've learned, doesn't always announce itself. It reveals itself in hindsight. The Stoics believed that patience isn't a weakness but a form of mastery, the ability to trust, that things will unfold in their time, not yours. It's not passive waiting, it's active endurance. You keep showing up, even when nothing seems to change. You keep doing the work, even when no one sees it. The oak behind my house is taller now. It still doesn't grow quickly, but it doesn't need to. It moves at the rhythm nature intended. I sometimes sit beside it and think about how similar our paths are, both quietly becoming, both learning that the pace doesn't define the progress. So, if you're in a season where it feels like nothing is happening, stay. Keep tending to your roots. Because beneath the surface, something sacred is forming, strength, depth, wisdom. In time it will all rise, not suddenly, not loudly, but inevitably. That's the beauty of slow growth. There's a moment in every journey when the excitement fades, when effort turns into exhaustion and progress slows to a crawl. You begin to wonder if any of it still matters. That's the moment that tests everything, not your talent, not your intelligence, but your endurance. I remember a winter years ago when I nearly gave up on everything I had been working for. I had poured my time, my energy, my entire sense of self into something that just wouldn't move forward. Every day felt like pushing against an invisible wall. I would wake up, stare at my reflection, and whisper, "What's the point anymore?" That question haunted me until one night I opened Meditations and read Marcus Aurelius's words. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. I must have read that line 100 times. And slowly, I began to understand. The struggle wasn't blocking my path, it was the path. Endurance, the Stoics believed, is the true measure of strength, not the fire that burns quickly, but the flame that refuses to die. It's not about how much you can do when things are easy, but how steadfast you remain when everything seems impossible. That winter became my teacher. I learned that endurance isn't about suppressing pain, it's about transforming it. It's about taking the blows life gives you and turning them into building blocks. It's about learning to stand still in the storm, to keep your footing when everything around you sways. Seneca wrote that difficulty shows what men are. And he was right. It's easy to appear wise when life is kind. But true stoicism begins when comfort ends. When your plans fall apart, when no one applauds your effort, when you're forced to walk through the dark with nothing but your will to guide you. That's where endurance lives. It's not glamorous. It doesn't sparkle or shout. It's quiet, heavy, and often invisible to others. But within that silence, something profound happens. The heart hardens in the best way. You stop breaking every time the world pushes you. You stop begging for ease and start asking for strength. I think we often misunderstand resilience. We treat it as recovery, as bouncing back to where we were before. But the Stoics saw endurance as something greater, becoming better because of what hurt you. It's not returning to who you were. It's evolving into someone who can stand taller next time. There's a story I often return to, the blacksmith's forge. The metal doesn't complain when it's struck. It yields, it bends, it endures the heat, because only through that process does it become unbreakable. The same is true for us. The fire that frightens you now is the same fire that's shaping your strength. As the months passed, my winter didn't magically end. The obstacles didn't disappear. But something inside me changed. The resistance that once crushed me began to fortify me. I started seeing every difficulty as training, every delay as discipline, every setback as refinement. The Stoics taught that no obstacle is truly external. The real battle is always within, between the part of you that wants to quit and the part that refuses to. And when the latter wins, even once, you begin to taste freedom. Endurance isn't about waiting for things to get easier. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need them to. So if you're in your own long winter right now, stay with it. Don't rush the thaw. Don't curse the cold. Every season of struggle is carving something sacred within you. And when spring finally comes, you won't just have survived, you'll have transformed. That's the quiet, unshakable power of endurance. There comes a moment, after years of striving, when you realize you were never chasing success. You were learning to master time itself. Not by controlling it, but by transcending it. That moment came for me on a quiet morning. I was sitting by the same window where I once used to panic about falling behind. The clock still ticked, the sun still rose, but the anxiety was gone. The difference wasn't in the world, it was in me. I had stopped measuring my life in milestones and started measuring it in meaning. That's when I finally understood what the Stoics had been trying to tell us all along. Life isn't short, it's scattered. It's not that we don't have enough time. It's that we waste it on things that don't matter. When you begin to live with purpose, every second stretches. A single mindful breath can feel infinite. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." I used to think that was a warning. Now I see it as a gift, a reminder that presence is eternity in disguise. The more deeply you live each moment, the less afraid you become of the clock. We spend so much of our lives running, from regret, from comparison, from the fear that we're late to our own destiny. But you're not late. You never were. Every delay, every detour, every failure has been part of your preparation. You are being sculpted, not stalled. The Stoic reward is not fame or fortune. It's not the applause of others or the illusion of control. The reward is timelessness, the peace that comes when you stop trying to outrun time and start flowing with it. When you learn to see life as a river, not a race. I've come to think of peace as the ultimate form of success, not the kind that looks impressive, but the kind that feels like quiet mastery. Knowing that no matter where you are on the path, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You wake, you breathe, you work, you endure, not because you must, but because it's what it means to be alive. When I see others rushing now, chasing the next big thing, I don't feel envy anymore. I feel compassion. I know that feeling, the hunger to arrive somewhere, anywhere, just to escape the discomfort of becoming. But the truth is, you never really arrive. You just learn to move more gracefully within the moment you're already in. There's a scene I often replay in my mind. I'm standing on a hill at dusk, watching the city lights flicker on one by one. Below me, people hurry through the streets, some chasing dreams, some running from fears, some lost in thought. And for the first time, I don't feel the urge to catch up. I just stand there, still, breathing in the cool evening air. Grateful that I finally understand what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "Confine yourself to the present." That is the Stoic reward, the freedom of being fully here. It's not about ignoring ambition or giving up on progress. It's about grounding your ambition in peace. It's about realizing that every step, no matter how slow, carries you forward when it's guided by intention. You're not behind. You're becoming. And when you live this way, you discover something profound. Time no longer feels like a threat. It becomes your ally, a quiet companion reminding you that everything unfolds in its season. So take a breath. Look around. You're not lost. You're not late. You're right on time. This journey, your journey, is not about winning the race. It's about walking it with purpose, with patience, and with peace. Because in the end, the Stoic way isn't about moving faster. It's about moving deeper,